Hello, everyone, and good morning. It is so nice to be with you. I just want to make sure from a sound check perspective, if you can hear me. If you can, if you could raise your hand, that would be excellent. Thank you. All right, perfect. Well, good morning, South Africa. And for all we know, we have people from Israel as well, as some of the emails that I'm getting. But we have a small intimate group today, and that's even better because that means that, please God, we'll have a Q&A session at the end, and your questions and answers will be able to be answered. So to introduce myself, my name is Danny Gavin, and the best way to contact me would either be through Twitter or LinkedIn. I have 10 plus years experience when it comes to digital marketing. I'm a musician and a husband and father of 5. I'm the founder and chief strategist of Optage, which is a full service digital marketing agency in Houston, Texas, as well as the founder of Odio Academy, which we'll talk about later today, as well as I'm a professor at the University of Houston, where I've taught digital marketing for the past 5 years and still even now today, digital marketing at the graduate level, so to people who are studying their MBA and MS marketing degrees. I always like to start off with a picture of the family. This is who I do it for. That's our daughter. She's 6 months old, and we still can't believe that we have her. She's awesome. All right, so we're all here today to learn about digital marketing. So what's going to be on our agenda? So what is digital marketing? What do we do? What programs we use? What is the demand for digital marketing? What types of jobs are out there? How much does digital marketing pay? Where can you get educated in the field? And a special surprise at the end of the presentation today. So make sure you stay all the way to the end and we'll be able to discuss that. We will also be having a Q&A session at the end, so please leave your Q&A. I'm not sure if we're using the Q&A box or the chat, but either way, go ahead and leave your questions during, and we'll try to get to them at the end of the presentation. So what is digital marketing? So I have 2 graphics here that kind of explain digital marketing, but the first explanation of what digital marketing even is using trying to understand it from a product or service perspective, right? So if we look at it in sort of a quadrant perspective, we have random people could buy my product or service, or my target customer is very specific, right? Like I sell medical supplies and only doctors buy it. And then on the other side of the quadrant, we have, is my customer actively looking for my product or service, or is my customer not? So here it kind of like breaks down all the different types of digital marketing. And actually this graph even looks at marketing in general. And it kind of shows you where everything lies. So let's just look quickly. So let's say my customer is not actively looking for a product of mine. I've launched a new really cool product, right? A really cool new coffee that no one knows about. Then we have most random people could buy my product, but anyone could buy it. In that case, TV, radio works. A lot of social media. We can see Facebook, Snapchat, right? Some SEO and YouTube. And then if we look at the bottom right quadrant, that's where my target is very specific, right? If they're very specific, I don't just want to blast, but I want to get really specific to them. But once again, they're not actively looking for a product of mine, so I have to work on different things. Specifically in the B2B world, LinkedIn and LinkedIn advertising is extremely strong. Now we have, if my customer is actively looking, and most random people could buy, then that's where SEO and advertising comes along, and Bing ads, Google ads. And then finally, in the right quadrant, where I have a specific target market and they're actively looking, that's potentially where trade shows and review sites. But with COVID going on, we don't know when trade shows are going to come back. So I always say, let's swap out the LinkedIn for the trade shows. But this starts to give you a good idea of all the different aspects of marketing and kind of how do they apply. Here's another graph, similar, but it kind of goes over the 4 areas of digital marketing. We have the paid side of digital marketing, PPC, which means pay-per-click ads, and those are the ads on search engines. We then have social media marketing, which is marketing through social media like Facebook and LinkedIn. We have organic marketing, which means I'm not paying for it. So PPC means I'm paying for it. Organic means I'm not paying for it. And that you have got to take that with a grain of salt, because when we say we're not paying for it, I mean, you still have to pay it. Your time is worth money, or if you're hiring someone to do something, it also costs money. And then we have SEM, search engine marketing, which is going to be marketing specifically with the search engines. And we can see that this overlaps, right? So we have search ads, which is search marketing and paid. We have social ads, which is ads that we run on social media. And then in social media itself, there's an organic side and a paid side. And then when it comes to search engine marketing, there's an organic side called SEO. And we've got, so you can see that there's an overlap, and in the middle we have digital marketing. Digital marketing can be considered a combination between organic marketing, paid marketing, search engines, and social media. And you've got all the different areas. And the point here being is there's lots of opportunity to get, when you get into digital marketing, there's so many areas that you can go into and so many things that you can do. All right, so now you understand kind of what's involved. What do we do? What do digital marketers do? So let's talk about some of the day-to-day things that a digital marketer does. Number one, they optimize a website so that it shows up higher in Google. I mean, I wish I could talk to you directly and you could answer back, but how many of you go to the second page of Google when you're searching for something? And most are going to say, no, not me. The only one who goes is me, right? A geek who's into marketing. But most of us, we want to just go on the first page and find. So if I don't have if my business doesn't show up on the first page of Google, it's very possible that people won't find it. So one of the things digital marketers is doing is optimizing a website. Number two, we're producing traffic generating content, producing blog posts and videos, and could be podcasts, really rich content that matches my audience and it's generating traffic. Now remember, I, as a digital marketer, I don't necessarily have to do all of these. I could theoretically, but I could specialize in one area or the next. But the point is that there's a lot of different areas. Number three, I can set up and create Google or Microsoft ad campaigns. Those ads that we see at the top of the search engine, whether you're using Google or Bing, setting up and creating those ad campaigns. Similar as well, we've got Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns, right? Where you don't even have to have a Facebook or Instagram page per se, but it's just using the data on Facebook and Instagram to run ads on their platforms, and it's extremely powerful. 5, create content calendars and design social media posts. It's really important when you're doing social media. It's hard for all of us. Like, I've got to wake up and say, okay, what am I going to post today? What am I going to post tomorrow, right? So it's better to sit down, create a content calendar, and figure out what you're going to do, and then actually design those social media posts. Digital marketers do that as well. Next, understanding Google Analytics, and properly, this moves on to the next line, track the effectiveness of social media and general marketing campaigns, right? If I can only, I can only measure what I'm tracking, but the idea is adding on a free tool like Google Analytics, I can see who are the people who are coming to my website. Where are they coming from? What do they do when they get there? And when they're there, do they actually fulfill the thing that I want them to do? Are they reaching out? Are they calling me? Are they filling out a contact form? And when I'm running social media campaigns, am I putting the right tracking in so I can see what works and what doesn't using Google Analytics? Again, that's what a digital marketer does. Let's talk about meeting with clients to define their digital marketing strategy. A lot of digital marketers are either freelancers, they're working with clients, but they're able to sit down and they can consult them and come up, what is going to be the best strategy? Should you do SEO? Should you do Google ads? Should you do Facebook? Finally, or not finally, we got two more, but write creative headlines for Facebook ads. Our writers in the room, the people who like to write, they also have room as digital marketers, whether they're writing headlines for Facebook ads or blog posts, but there's room for you too in digital marketing. And finally, developing target customer personas to direct content, creative, and ad strategies. We're not just going to create ads, create blog posts, but we need to understand who our target market is, and creating a target customer persona, which is, we like shopping Sally or shopping Shoshi, and she's 18 to 24 and she likes doing this and that. When we create these really good personas, these target people that we want to keep in mind when we're writing our content and our ads, it's a really important thing, and that's another thing that digital marketing people do. So now that we have a better idea of like day to day, what are the different things that a digital marketing person can do? What are some of the programs that we use? That's always a big question that I get. So here you can see I've got lots of logos, and that means what the answer is there are lots of programs that we use. And it really depends on what area that you focus in, but I just wanted to touch upon a couple just so you get an idea of like what's out there. So number one, Google Search Console, that's a free tool made by Google that you connect into your website, and you can get a lot of data of what are the SEO issues of your website, speed issues, also what are the keywords that people are actually typing in into Google to find your website. Then I've got a slew of like SEO tools. SEO, once again, means search engine optimization, optimizing your website. And you can see there's lots of tools: SEMrush, Ahrefs, OnCrawl, Screaming Frog, Moz. I like SEMrush and Screaming Frog, but there's a lot of tools that SEOs use. Now, it helps to know HTML and CSS, which is coding, and that's sort of the basic coding when it comes to websites. You don't have to know coding, you don't have to know website, but the more you know, the better, because naturally, when optimizing websites, code is involved, and the more you know, the more you can do. But often in an organization, you could just be an SEO or a digital marketer, and you could work with the IT team or work with someone who knows coding, and you'll be fine. Now let's move over to the right side of the page where we have some additional tools. So we have Hootsuite, which is a really cool scheduler for social media. So let's say instead of having to sit and be there and pump out my tweets, I can write them all ahead of time, put them in a platform like Hootsuite, and schedule them out to come out, once a day, a couple of hours a day, whenever. MailChimp is a really awesome tool when it comes to email marketing. Very low cost and very powerful. And email marketing is another area of digital marketing. And some companies, specifically e-commerce companies, will have people full time just working on their email marketing strategies. Google Tag Manager is more of an advanced tool, and that allows you to do tagging on a website without having to go in the code every time. Then we have Canva, which is an amazing tool that it's like Photoshop, but it allows you to create graphics. And even if you don't know graphic design, or you don't have a lot of graphic, or you don't understand the difficulties and complexities of Photoshop, Canva is extremely powerful and easy to use. And I believe they have a really cool free version. We have our Facebook ads, our Google ads. We mentioned Google Analytics. Knowing Microsoft Excel really helps. And you don't have to use Microsoft Excel. You can also use Google Sheets as well. But I would say the tool that I use the most is Excel. And you don't have to know like the crazy things in Excel, but having spreadsheets and analyzing the data, specifically when you're running ad campaigns, is extremely helpful. And finally, a tool like Slack, which is a messaging tool. Often if you have clients, or in my organization, we use Slack. It's a great way to communicate with each other. And that's a type of tool that you would most probably use, whether it's Slack or something else like that, as a digital marketer. Okay, what is the demand for digital marketing? So, all right, Danny, this is really exciting. I see what you do. I see there's lots of tools, but like, who really needs this? Who wants it? Now, obviously, you're here today, so there's some demand, but let's take a look. So if I look at the global top 10 most in-demand jobs on LinkedIn, and this is pretty recent, back from October 2020, so just a couple months ago, and this is from an article from Search Engine Journal. Let's see, what are the most demand jobs? So we've got, software developers, sales representatives, or project manager, who's someone who also has to, get some certifications, IT administrator, customer service, not the most exciting, but then you have digital marketer, right? So we're basically right out of the top 5, but 860,000 job openings. Now I know there's a lot of people in the world, so it's not necessarily so the point is, when you're looking at the total amount of jobs that are out there, or just the top jobs out there, digital marketer shows up in the top 10 list because people are looking for digital marketing, whether that's companies. And it's kind of funny because when you look in the year 2020, you'd expect everyone to be doing digital marketing, but there are still companies that are slow to the races. And therefore there's still lots of opportunities, even as freelancers, to help those companies move into the digital age. Now, related to this, in this study, they're also looking at what are the most in-demand skills for digital marketing. And this is not in any order, but what are the skills that people are looking for when it comes to digital marketing? So we have content strategy. People are able to come up with a content strategy, not necessarily a writer, but the strategy. SEO, which we spoke about. Understanding different marketing channels. People who know Google Analytics and Google Ads and social media. These are all things which you touched upon, but these are all the skills that people are looking for when it comes to a digital marketer. The more you know, the better. But sometimes you have specialized jobs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, so now that we see there's a lot of demand, right? People want digital marketers. What are the types of jobs that I can expect? If this is an arena or area that I want to get into, what are the types of jobs that are out there? So before we get into the specific jobs, I like to break it down into four general categories because even besides for the job, there's different areas that you can go into. So number one, you could get a digital marketing job in-house. And we say in-house, that means to be the digital marketer inside of a company, and do their digital marketing in-house. So you're actually in the company. Imagine there's an e-commerce company in South Africa that sells really cool biltong, and they're really good at making biltong and shipping it out, but they don't know how to market it. So you could come into that company and market biltong to the people of South Africa, and if you can, export it to America, to the people who really like biltong and want to get some good biltong. Um, how and in this position, you could do the marketing yourself. You could be managing a team, people under you, and often you might be working with some outside agencies and managing them. Now, being a manager of an agency, do you need to know digital marketing? Of course you do, because number one, you got to make sure they're doing their job, and you need to make sure that you have the right agency. The more you know, the better you're going to be able to manage them. So having a basic understanding or even a deep understanding of digital marketing, even when you're going to be outsourcing it, is extremely important, because if you don't understand it, sometimes people can take advantage of you and you may not be able to find the right person for what you need. Number two, agency. We can work for a digital, you can work for a digital marketing agency, and digital marketing agencies usually work with multiple clients. So if you like a fast-paced environment, really busy, you're not just working with one company, but you're working with multiple or several, then there's room for you when it comes to digital marketing. And sometimes you have agencies that are specifically digital marketing focused. Sometimes you have more broad advertising agencies or branding agencies that require certain digital marketing people as well. So there's room for you as well. Next, you've got the consultants and freelancers, where kind of like an agency, but you're working for yourself, right? You're helping other people with their digital marketing, and you might be a one-stop shop. You might have, maybe one other person that you work with, but it provides you with a lot of flexibility. Obviously, you're going to have to drum up your own business, so there's that effort that needs to be done, but there's a lot of opportunity for you as well. And freelancers can also not only help out businesses, but often they can help out agencies as well. Agencies often hire freelancers and don't hire people full time in order to take care of certain areas of their business. And then the most important one, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, then you want to know digital marketing so that you're able to promote your own products and services. Often entrepreneurs, when they're first starting out, they don't have the money to go ahead and hire people. So how are they going to get this business off the ground? By learning and understanding and doing digital marketing. And then once they understand it well, and let's say they're starting to make money and they're able to, they need to focus on other things, they can go ahead and hire and train the right individuals or agencies to help them out. So you can see there's lots of areas when it comes to digital marketing. It's not just one focus, but you can be in a company, you can work at an agency, you could work for yourself as a consultant, or even start a business and use those skills to help you, and then eventually train and hire the right person. So I hope you're all following along. If there are any questions, feel free to ask your questions within the chat window, and love to answer them at the end of our webinar. All right, so thanks, Danny. You've told me sort of the different areas, but Danny, I'm not a creative person. Can I still be a digital marketer or analytical? Um, I'm not that analytical. I'm not really good at numbers. Can I still be a digital marketer? And I recently got an email, I think it was 2 nights ago. Danny, I'm not a writer. I don't really know writing so well. Can I be a digital marketer? And the answer to all of these people is yes, you can be a digital marketer. Digital marketing has the creative people, the analytical people, the writers, the non-writers. There is room for everyone in this amazing tribe. So now let's get into specific jobs when it comes to digital marketing and see how there's different attributes that you have, and different people will flourish in different roles. So let's first talk about SEO. Once again, that means optimizing websites so they show up on the first page of Google. you can see there's many different jobs, even in SEO. You could be a technical SEO specialist. So know more about the technical side of things, more of the coding and the back end of the website. And you're going to be ensuring that the web page is set up and the content set up in the right way. This is usually more of an analytical role. There is some writing involved. But once again, if you're not such a good writer, you can still flourish in a role like this. Next, we have SEO content specialist. So this is someone who is going to research, create, develop, and optimize keywords and topics, rich content for users and search engines. What's the content that we should write? What should it include? What keywords should it focus on? This can be both a creative and analytical role. That SEO content specialist, they may be writing the content themselves or have a team of content writers or a content writer that they work with. So that's another whole area. And finally, we've got SEO outreach specialist. A big part of SEO is getting people to know about your website so that they link back to your website. So it would be great if the New York Times, or I forget the name of the South African newspaper, you get on their online website, wow, this really, really cool new biltong, and they put a link back to my website. But we have specifically people, SEO outreach specialists, that perform PR and outreach for a brand, product, or service so that it receives mentions within press, news, and online forums. And this, once again, can be a creative and analytical role. If you're more of an outgoing person, that's great because it's all about outgoing and getting that message out there and getting a result in a digital manner. Next, we have digital ads. So we spoke a little bit about ads, Facebook ads, and Google ads. So let's talk about what are the different areas here. So number one, you could be a marketing manager. And marketing manager is kind of like an overall manager, a marketing manager in the company, but you have multiple responsibilities. You could plan campaigns, deal with the customers, work with agencies or employees, build relationships. Once again, here, there's room for both the creative and the analytical people. It really depends on what really the role is focused on. But yeah, there's lots that you can do as being a marketing manager. Next, we have PPC manager. So someone who's managing PPC, pay-per-click, like Google ad campaigns. They're going to run these search and display campaigns for multiple clients, handling multiple budgets, designing those ads, and optimizing accounts. So here, if you're an analytical person, it really helps. But you need some creativity as well. Are you going to be writing the ads? Are you going to be creating them? Or are you going to get someone to help you? But once again, people of all types can come in and fit in this role. And then it just really depends on where you're at. And then finally, social ads management, which is similar to PPC manager, but that's running ads on all of the social media platforms, Facebook's, the LinkedIn, TikTok. Yeah, you can run ads on TikTok and Twitter for multiple clients. And once again, here you have your creative and analytical sides. Our third area is for the creative people, right? So let's say you want some more pure creative roles. So we have our content writers. We need people in digital marketing who can write really good web pages and create blog posts, help us with our ad copy, and create white papers, informational case studies, and more. That's a huge creative role. I like to tell people my undergrad degree is in rabbinical studies. I'm an ordained rabbi. And but I would say if I'd ever do it again, I would want to get an undergrad degree in English, because if you have the power of writing, I feel like you have such a leg up on people when it comes to digital marketing. You wouldn't think that. It's like, what? But yeah, it's pretty cool. So there are room for the writers and the people who are good at English as well. Then we have social media managers, those people who are managing, putting out those posts on Facebook every day, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, creating, scheduling, and posting. That's quite a creative role, but you got to be a little analytical as well. See what's going on, what's working, what doesn't. So that's also a really great area and a lot of demand specifically for social media managers. And then finally, we have our graphic designers, creating those graphics. Like I said, there are tools like Canva that allow our regular Joes to be able to do that. But some companies in certain areas, you need graphic designers to design graphics and ads, landing pages, websites, and their case studies and other collateral. So there's room for you graphic designers as well in the world of digital marketing. And then our last slide here is about just other random jobs. We have email marketing specialists. We touched upon that before, especially now with, we don't just do email marketing, but there's a lot of SMS or text message marketing. And you'll find that the email marketer will design the emails, come up with the campaigns or promotions, and make sure things are going out, looking at the analytics. It can be, I put here it's a creative role, but analytical will help, but there's room for both as well. Now we have data analysts. So people are just analyzing the data. So they're going to set up and manage and analyze and report what's going on the website. If you have a mobile app, your campaign. So if you just want to deal with data, you don't want to deal with people, kind of an introvert, there's room for you. And obviously, if you're a good data analyst, that can be quite a profitable career and job. And then similar to data analysts, but we've got A/B designer and testers. And I think we spoke about this, but I love to ask this question to people. But if I'm going to create a buy now button on my website, should that button be red or should it be blue? Right? So half of you are going to raise your hand and say, oh, Danny, it should be red. And then half of you are going to say, no, I think it should be blue. And the answer is you're all wrong, because let's test it. In the world of digital marketing, we can do something called A/B testing. We could send 50% of the traffic to one website, or sorry, to one version of the website where the button is red. And then we can send 50% of the traffic to another version of the website where the button is blue, and see which one works better. So that's what an A/B designer and tester can do. When we have A/B testing in all aspects of digital marketing, websites, emails, ads, and you can imagine that there's creative and analytical positions there as well. Okay, how much does digital marketing pay? So now we have a really good idea of what's happening with the different roles, the different areas of the company, the different areas of the industry. But all right, Dan, how much money can I make? Like, this sounds interesting, but is it a job that can work out for me? So because we're talking to primarily a South African audience, so let's talk about in Rand, right? And like I said, we may have some people who are in Israel, maybe a few Americans. So you're going to have to go to Google and do your conversions, but I think it's divided by 14, at least for the dollar. But let's get an idea. So what's an average yearly salary? So I got this off of payscale.com, and you can see like a low range in South Africa is 94,000 Rand, high is 1.6. Those guys are really killing it. But an average salary and is about 374,000 Rand. Now, I wanted to verify that. So I actually spoke to a couple of my friends who are CAs, right? Accountants in South Africa who do a little bit of auditing. And I wanted to know, like, practically what are the salaries out there? And he actually was really cool. He like sent over, hey, these are the averages. So we've got an average insurance company, the salary is about 300,000 Rand. An HR company is about 263,000 Rand. And a news website, their average salary is about 343,000 Rand. So, so in case you thought like I was just going to random websites, we actually went a little bit deeper to see what are the average salaries. So we're talking about like an average salary for, one of these professional companies, maybe is at 263 to about 343,000 Rand. So now let's get into digital. So looking at za.talent.com, you can see that our social media specialists, SEO, PPC, we're all about around 330,000 Rand. So right in that average, an average salary when it comes to, but you can see that's the median, right? If you're good, if you have more experience, that can increase tremendously. Now, I think showing like 4 million or 2 million Rand is a little crazy, but I'm sure that you can start pushing north of that 300,000 Rand. And we're going to see some other opportunities as we move forward. So here, just to get, once again, I wanted to give, like, not focus on just one website or one bit of information, but looking at pay scale. So this is not looking at a specific area, like just SEO, just PPC, but in general, digital marketing manager. So we can see here, just starting out 190,000 Rand, 1 to 4 years, 259. When you get to 5 to 9 years, up to 396, and 10 plus 19 years, 405,000. But the average is about 300,000 Rand. So everything's pretty much pointing the same way, right? So on average, in general, what you can expect, with a couple years experience is getting to that 350,000 Rand when it comes to a digital marketing job. But but for some people, they don't want to necessarily go and get a job. So let's look at what are the opportunities to run my own business or to be a freelancer. And especially, I would say, in South Africa, I always consider South Africa the land of opportunity. Now, it doesn't mean that there's no agencies that are out there and there's not freelancers, but it's a large country. There's lots of opportunity. So what can you do? So I went onto some websites to see what are digital marketing companies charging in South Africa. So here's a company that, and we're leaving off names just so that we don't mention anyone, but here they do a once-off audit of your website from an SEO perspective, 6,000 Rand. And, to throw it in, you get 3 months free reports. But if you want to keep working with them, they're going to charge you about 3,000 Rand a month. Um, and that's just for their SEO services or to monitor their website. However, they also provide social media content, app development, and lots of other things as well. Okay, that's cool. I can charge someone 3,000 Rand a month in order to optimize their website and help them with their performance. That sounds promising. And let's look at another company. So another company, I don't necessarily like selling it this way, but this is kind of how, this company does. But they're saying, like, if you want to focus on ranking for 10 keywords, we're going to charge you, 4,000 Rand. If you want us to focus on 50 keywords, there's 10,000 Rand a month. So once again, I personally don't like to sell SEO like this, and we can always talk about this at another time. But what I wanted to give you was context that agencies like this, just for SEO, are charging somewhere between 4 to 10,000 Rand a month per client. That is pretty awesome. That means that there's some opportunity here. So what could this even look like? So if you were to work for yourself, right? Let's say you're doing social media marketing, a little bit of SEO, and you've got a package of, let's say, 3,000 Rand a month, and you build up, you can get to 20 clients. That's pretty good. 20 clients times 3,000 Rand a month. That's almost 60,000 Rand a month, which could lead to a salary of 720,000 Rand a year, which is pretty crazy. That's double, working for someone else. And once again, I'm not like, being naive here that this, to get 20 clients is work, right? But anything that you work at is going to be hard work, and you got to put in the effort. But what I'm trying to show you is the opportunity that's there. If you, let's say, did more work and you had less clients, 10 clients at 6,000 Rand a month, or you only had 5 clients and, you could charge 12,000 Rand a month. But the point is, there are options and opportunities there to really make a good living. And especially if you're good at it, and the more experience you get, and, if you come out and you've just studied and learned what to do, yeah, you might not be able to do this in year 1, but after a couple of years and looking at what's going on, this can turn into a very profitable and fulfilling career, as well as salary. Another perspective that one could take is, not even focusing on, you're living in South Africa, not even focusing on South African companies, but rather you're really good at what you're doing. Your English is good. And why don't you work remotely for companies in America or the UK, where you could charge 250 to 587 Rand an hour and be competitive, right? So, companies in America are, outsourcing to the Philippines and to India, but a lot of those people aren't native English speakers in the way like the English that we're used to in the UK and the US. And so people might want to pay a little bit more to someone from South Africa who has all the skills, but but hasn't, let's say, a better English. So when you think about that, if I'm working full time, 40 hours a week at 250 Rand an hour, or maybe part time, I'm only working 20 hours a week at maybe a higher rate of 587 Rand an hour. That can be, once again, 600,000 Rand a year. And how do you get involved with that? There are sites like Upwork and Freelancer where you can go on and bid on projects. I believe there's lots of opportunities to do remote work. And I myself, I was thinking about this, like, we should get more South Africans to, hey, don't just outsource your work to the Philippines and India, but we've got really good South Africans that know their stuff, know their digital marketing, and you should use them. So that's something we gotta work on. All right, Dan. So you've told me, exactly how much money I can make, what are all the different things, but where can I get educated in the field? This sounds really great. I want to be able to learn about this. I want to become a digital marketer. So the first way that you can learn about digital marketing is through blogs. And reading. And there's so many good resources out there. And here are a couple of them that I really, really recommend. Number one is Moz.com. Moz is sort of like the foundational SEO blog, which you want to follow. And they also have a really good beginner's guide to SEO. So if you go on Google and search for beginner's guide to SEO, Moz is great. And by the way, I forgot here, and Dennis might get upset, but Online X, of course, you want to make sure to sign up to Online X and watch all the webinars and learn from Online X. Of course, Online X. Backlinko is a really cool guy, Brian Dean. He's got a great blog and great information when it comes to digital marketing. This is one that just popped up this past Sunday. LearningSEO.io is a step-by-step, really, really in-depth guide. It's like, these are the 500 things you can learn in SEO. This is the best blog post for this, for that. Really cool. And then finally, I have a friend, Kirk, who is really good at Google Shopping. He just launched a book recently. He wrote a book and launched it on Amazon. He's got a really good blog post that covers resources when it comes to PPC education, both free and paid resources. So if you go to this link here, bit.ly, Kirk's PPC list, that's a great arena. So bottom line, you can go online and you can go and read blogs and websites and get a lot of information. And a lot of it you can learn and you can self-teach yourself. Obviously, you can go to university as well. I don't know what the digital education is like in South Africa, but but it's getting better in America for classes, like classes that I'm teaching. Next is YouTube. There's lots of videos online, and you could spend hours watching videos online and learning up and gaining up on your digital marketing experience. And then here, this is a very valuable slide. Take a screenshot now. But these are free courses that someone can take, right? Google Ads has their own certification programs. HubSpot has certification programs, SEMrush. You can see that there's also some non-certification courses. Canva has a design school, and Twitter. But man, you can go online and you can get certified, and there's a lot of free resources out there to level up on digital marketing. However, there's a problem. And you're like thinking, Danny, why are you telling me about all these free resources? But here's the issue, right? So you've got, like I said, you've got blogs, you have videos, you have all these different things that you can do. But here's the problem of relying on those things. Number one, how do I self-motivate? Like, a lot of us need a kick in the pants to get going. How do I motivate myself to actually go through those things and learn it? And a lot of us need structure, right? Okay, Dan, I've got YouTube, but where do I start? Where do I finish? What do I do? Number three, where can I find everything in one place? I got to hop to this video, this blog, that blog. And then even if I get all that information, but I need some practical experience. Like, I can learn everything theoretical, but how do I actually go ahead and do this stuff so I can get a job or be able to do it? And in addition to that, I want to be able to put together an amazing portfolio, right? So I can show my work to people so that I can get that job or get a company to work with me. And last but not least, who do I turn to if I have questions, right? Do I, if I'm reading a blog at Moz, do I email them and say, hey, I don't understand this point? But so yes, you can go that route, but there are some things and some issues or problems or difficulties, challenges that you need to look at. So therefore, what's the solution? What's the solution that we have to take care of these issues? And that is Odio Academy. Odio Academy is an amazing program which I started. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about now at the end of our webinar. The cool thing about Odio Academy is the fact that it's a winning combination of theory and hands-on skills plus community, all in one course. There are 11 modules of engaging high-level content, and it covers all the fundamentals of digital marketing: SEO, Google Ads, Google Analytics, as well as Facebook and Instagram advertisements. Now, not just that, but we have a supportive community and cheering for your mentorship. You're not doing this alone. You are in a cohort, you're in a group with other people who are doing the same material, and there's a Slack channel. Think of it as an instant messenger where you can reach out to your friends. You reach out to me as well, but you can reach out to your friends and work together to try to come. And not just that, but when you finish the course, you'll have access to that group of people forever, right? Those are your people that went through the hard work with you. And they're, the 11 modules are all pre-recorded videos, but there's also going to be weekly live Q&As with Danny. And if people from South Africa, we'll make sure that we have times that work even for South Africans. And besides for that, there are going to be weekly challenges, actual work, homework, and skills that you're going to have to take, and which will be graded by my team so that you can actually do the work, actually do SEO, actually create the ads. And then finally, the most important, which you can see at the bottom, is the final project. So it's a 15-week course. The last 4 weeks, you are going to be taking everything that you learned and choosing a business, whether it's your own business, whether it's your friend's business, whether it's a theoretical business, and creating a portfolio and analysis and doing everything that you learned for that business. And that's going to be your final project, so that you now can have this 20-page portfolio that you can go to anyone and say, I know what I'm doing. Give me a job. I'll be able to do. I took Danny's course. Of course, I can do really great things. So just to go over the syllabus, this is actually the week by week of what we're learning, but we go from introduction to SEO and keyword research, and keyword research is going to help you with content strategy as well. On-page SEO, how do you optimize the front end of the website? The technical SEO, how do you optimize the back end and the issues that people have? We have internal linking and content marketing, linking the strategies for linking within the website, and content marketing. What sort of content should we create? Who should we create it for? Building personas. What types of content? There's primary content, secondary content. Then in week 5, we move to external links, links from outside back to inside, outreach, and then there's a special subtopic just for local SEO. So companies that are specifically targeting people in their area. So that kind of covers our core SEO. Then week 6, we move over to Google Analytics and go in depth of how to work Google Analytics, how to understand it, how can I use it to track things. Then week 7, 8, and 9, we're going to go in depth to Google advertisements as well as Bing ads, and be able to literally do everything nuts to bolts besides for actually launching the campaign. And then week 10, we go into Facebook and Instagram ads and go into audience research and the general concepts of what we can do for Facebook. Then week 11, we've got more in-depth content for each of the subject areas. You don't have to learn all of them, but you can focus on a specific area that you find most interesting. And then we have weeks 12 through 15, which will be your final project portfolio, and it will give you the time to work on that. So once again, what's in this course? It's 11 weeks of in-depth graduate level content, 11 graded challenges, 11 weekly graded quizzes, 12 weekly live Q&A sessions, which I think we might even go even further than that. We're going to talk about the bonus materials, but we have templates, right? Everything you're doing, there's going to be Excel templates and different templates that you can use for yourself and in the future. The best part is you will get lifetime access to all classes and recordings. So even after the course is done, you can still go back to the material at any time. Then you'll have that final project portfolio that we will look at. In addition, we spoke about SEMrush. For the first month of the course, we will get full access to that tool, which is really cool. We have the Slack community, and if you complete 75% of the challenges and all of the quizzes, and you've done your portfolio project, you get your official Odio completion badge and or certificate so that you can show it off and say that I've done this. And the most important thing is whatever I'm teaching here is what I use to teach my own employees. The people who work in my agency have gone through my process, and it's actually pretty cool. But I would say half my agency I've actually had in my class at university and hired them out, which is really cool. So in addition to that, the cool thing about the SEO and digital marketing world is the fact that we are able to, if you have a problem or you want to, especially on Twitter, reach out to people. They're really friendly. So I reached out to some of the best experts in the world when it comes to digital marketing and asked them, hey, do you want to add some additional bonus content to Odio Academy? And they're like, sure, no problem. So like I said, Kirk, we spoke about, he's got an amazing video reviewing what shopping ads are. And those are the ads on Google specifically for shopping. And then we have Akvila. Akvila is one of the best Facebook marketers out there. And I sit down with her and talk about her amazing journey and what are the things that you need to keep in mind, specifically when it comes to digital marketing and Facebook ads. Then we have Bill Hartzner. He's one of the oldest guys in SEO, and he specializes in domains and buying and selling domains and websites. Really cool course. Then we have Diana Richardson from SEMrush, who talks about building a social community. And then finally, Ellie Schwartz, who happens to be my neighbor a couple blocks away. He moved from San Francisco recently down to Houston. He focuses on SEO for large enterprise clients. So he works for, like the large dating apps or SurveyMonkey, so enterprise SEO. And he has a really cool course on building a sustainable SEO program. So all of this additional bonus content is thrown in as well. So now you're going to say, so Danny, is this course for me? I don't know. Should I take it? Should I not? Is it for me? So if you can think, or if you think you can master a highly technical and intellectually demanding skill set while watching Netflix on your phone and maybe kind of learning a little bit without investing 6 to 8 hours on average each week for about 12 weeks. Now, once again, it might not be 6 to 8, it could be less, but we're talking about an hour and a half to 2 hours every night for about 4 to 5 nights a week. But just by skimming the reading materials while I'm listening to Spotify, then Odio is not for you. Nah, I don't think it's going to work for you. However, if you have creativity or if you have logic, and once again, you don't have to have both, but there's room for everyone. If you're curious and you're motivated and you're willing to apply your mind, and if you're looking for a fun, fulfilling, and dynamic career where you're going to be inspired to improve every day, then Odio is perfect for you. And I can't wait to get to meet you and for you to join our course. So, are you ready to embark on a meaningful and challenging career as a digital marketer? Because that's what we're here about today. So, what does it cost? So, content only courses at this level begin at around $2,000. However, with those courses, it's literally you just get access to a bunch of videos. You don't necessarily get the support, the accountability, or the mentorship. And if we're talking about the university level courses that I give, right, where you're getting your MBA and then you take some digital marketing courses on the side, if you just look at that cost, we're talking about $5,000 minimum just to take an average of 9 months to complete. So we're talking about like it's a hefty value if you want good digital marketing education. However, for Odio Academy, because this is our beta, this is the first time we're launching it, not the first time I'm teaching it, but the first time I'm launching it, what we're coming along and doing is we are dropping a special introductory price at $14.95 or 4 payments of $3.95. And there's also a VIP level, which is at $24.95. And I know these are in dollars and not in rand, but hold on, don't let this number scare you. But the idea is $24.95 or $625 a month, 4 payments. Now, the advantage of the VIP over the Pro, the VIP gives you more access to me. So if you want additional personal one-on-one sessions, especially after the course is complete, whether it's with the job coaching or with running actual campaigns and getting feedback, that's where I can help you. Now, what's most important is that I'm so confident in the value that I'm giving a full money back guarantee. And that means that 21 days after starting the course, if you went through all the modules and completed all the challenges to date, and you still do not feel that these skills are relevant to you, all you have to do is contact me and I will give you 100% of your money back. No questions asked, no conditions. And you can on the previous slide you saw that I'm offering payment plans of 4 months to pay the course. But for people in South Africa, if for some reason you would need longer, I could work with you, and if you wanted to contact me, we could potentially do 6 months instead of 4 months. So when does it start? This sounds really great, Danny. When does it start? So we have a general cohort both for men and women, which is starting March 1st. That means this Monday. So we're ready to get started. If you're ready to get started, we're ready to get started. Now, we're also offering a women-only cohort, and that's specifically for, we're specifically targeting it for the Orthodox Jewish community. However, it's open to any women, whether you're Jewish, whether you're not Jewish, if you're Orthodox or not. But if you want to be in a woman-only environment, that course will be starting April 11th, which is really close, right? Because March is right here. Now, really, guys, this is once in a lifetime opportunity. Since this is a beta launch, I guarantee that you'll never get access to this exact course again for this price. The next time we run it, it's definitely, the price is going up. And there's no guarantees when I'm going to do this again next and what the price will be. So really jumping on it now is getting yourself a foot in the door and getting at an amazing price. Now, let's just talk about, like, okay, you spoke about this investment and everything, but let's just talk about some of the testimonials. So this is Brianna. Brianna was from my university class, but let's just read, like, what did she have to say? You know, the course gave me knowledge and experience that boosted my resume and skills and gave me a foundation in digital marketing. Though the great asset of his course is Danny as an educator, he's incredibly knowledgeable and all he wants to do is help his students succeed. And I didn't pay her to say this. I truly believe Danny's course and his passion for teaching is what landed me in my career today. I have a full-time offer once I graduate from my dream job. I don't know if I would be in this position without his course. So really amazing things. Thank you, Brianna, for your kind words. and this is, I'm running a couple Facebook ads, and this was literally a comment that I got. Now, I ran a course like this a year ago, and Shimon was one of the guys who took it, but he saw the ad and he said, hey, let's leave a review. I highly recommend this course for anyone that wants to know the real nuts and bolts of online marketing. Mr. Gavin is an excellent teacher with proven experience and strong success in the field. I took a similar course with him. These tools gave me knowledge, confidence, and direction to shoot straight for what I need in my online pursuits. So once again, didn't ask Shimon to leave this comment, but he did, and really cool. All right, now we're going to get into questions. So I see we have a couple questions, but for those remaining attendees, if you have any more questions, feel free to put it into the chat window. And it could be about Odio Academy. It could be about digital marketing in general. Once again, I want to be valuable. You want this to be valuable for your time. Okay, so Oriella Davis asked, how can one learn content strategy as a skill? So by learning, so I would say the foundations, a lot of the foundations of SEO, what are the, doing the research and figuring out what are the keywords that people are looking for, what are the topics that are important, but mastering that sort of ability to use the tools and understand, to uncover what is the best piece of content that I should write in order to rank. That's how you can become a content strategist. Now, content strategy can also be from an organic perspective, like on social media, but a lot of these skills of what are the keywords to use, what are the topics to use, understanding how to use those tools, that is all a way that you can become a content strategist. Now, Dennis is asking, do you recommend that we get jobs in the digital marketing space or start our own consultancies? And the answer is, it really depends, right? If you start your own consultancy, you have to have the ability to hustle and get your own business, right? Some people like to be in an environment where they're working for someone else. Other people hate it and want to work on their own. Obviously, if you work on your own, there's also the possibility of making more money. So the cool part is you're not limited to one area. You can go ahead and try it out. What a lot of people will do is we'll start off at an agency, gain up that experience, work there for maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe 1 or 2 years, and then once they gain the skills, they can then go and start on their own. So there's lots of different opportunities and options. Another question: if we decide to use our knowledge to start our own consultancies, how do we access international business? Great question, Dennis. So some of the sites that I gave were Upwork and Freelancer. So these are great ways that people are looking for talent. But Dennis, you and we need to talk about it. We need to make South Africans more visible to the world. Let's teach them digital marketing and make them access to international businesses. And another question was, can we pay the course over time? Yes, by default, it's 4 months. But if you need some special attention for any specific reason, you can always reach out and we can see if we can work on something. And then Dennis is following up, is it easy to get jobs for international companies and work remotely? Yes, I mean, especially post-COVID, or in the middle of COVID, this concept of working remotely is huge. So the point is, if I'm an American and I need someone to help me with my SEO, and I can find someone in South Africa who speaks like me, right? He might think a little bit differently because they like cricket and not baseball, but can do the job well. And I don't have to pay an American salary or American prices, but I can pay less. And then that person in South Africa can they'll make a decent living, but it's not so much. There are definitely opportunities out there. Once again, it's not easy, but nothing in life is easy, but the opportunities are there. All right, well, that's pretty much our questions for today. We have a couple minutes left. Anyone else who has questions? But I think it's a good point that we're talking about here is an investment, not a cost. In the end of the day, learning digital marketing, it's about investing in yourself. And as with any good investment, there's an upfront investment, and over time that will pay off in multitudes. Cool. So if we don't have any other questions, it's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on social media or through the Odio Academy website. And I wish everyone a much hatzlacha, which means success in Hebrew. And thank you so much.